Okay, so far we have covered today weather and meteorology, drone equipment and maintenance, and then emergency handling procedures. Okay, these are the three critical topics with respect to our drone flying, as well as understanding in what scenario we can fly in case of any emergency there. What are the emergency procedures or emergency plan we can think about, or we have a plan in place. Okay, so
Yeah,
like if we are flying a drone in a field and we are, if drone tries to go away in the field or something like that, it will always trigger the RTL. Or if the battery is reduced to 40%, it will trigger the RTL. All that scenarios
yeah,
are already been taken care. Now let's see. When we talk about the drone is not just like earlier. Drone used to just people used to like aero modeling kind of thing. People just love flying things. Okay, but in drones, yes, of course, as a toy drone or just from a flying perspective, you will always fly a drone to certain extent just to see how things fly and how does maneuver in the sky. But in a real professional world or in a useful case, normally you will fly a drone for some purpose. It could be agriculture, it could be surveillance, it could be monitoring, or it could be delivery, or any other thing. So in that scenario, definitely you will require a payload attached to your drone.
yeah,
So let's see what all payloads can be attached to the drone, or what are the drones comes with what type of payloads, and what is the purpose. I mean, what is the purpose that you can achieve by having different type of payloads. Okay, so as I said, in 2001 onwards, initially before 19th century, since we started understanding how the aircraft flies and all the things, we were able to make aircraft. And initially the unmanned aircrafts were used basically for or by the defense, purposely for reconnaissance or surveillance, or maybe some targeted attack on the
yeah,
enemy camps and all that things. But since 2001, I would say 2001 onwards, initially the drone was more or less used as a fun activity or flying kind of activity, and then people put up the camera on the drones, and then they use it for aerial photography, videography kind of scenario. So initially first 10 years was just like that only. I mean, there was not much development, but since 2010, this segment also took up, and people thought and saw that there is a very potential of this particular device, okay, or the technology. So there where actually the development started coming up. So by 2010, 2014, still people were figuring out how and what can be done using drone. And by the time our ICAO also took the thing seriously, that yes, we need something, rules and regulations and collaboration
yeah,
among the states. And by 2015 they formed a committee which will actually define all these things. So they pulled up people from various department and then set up a committee which will actually work only on RPAS segment or RPAS development and
hmm,
utilization, all the things. Okay, so in US it started from 2016, 2018. There was a huge number of people, becoming pilots and all that things. And then subsequently, other developing countries or developed countries also started seeing the importance and potential of a drones for various uses. It started with surveillance, monitoring, aerial photography, videography, then your supply, then your agriculture, all that segment. Various people, startups, organizations started taking this seriously and started using it. Okay, so when you see a drone, definitely it will always have some or other kind of payload attached to it.
hmm,
So what could be the different payloads? So the basics of payload, types of payloads, and payload applications. So you can see there are different types of payload. Like I've just put a photograph of a DJI Phantom where you have a gimbal with a camera attached to it. So basically it will be a visible light or optoelectronics payload. You might have a night vision payload, or you can just simply attach the first responder kind of thing. So first aid kit would be there, or a
hmm,
remote control loudspeaker can be also as a payload. We have seen the utilization of a drone with a loudspeaker during COVID or pandemic situation, where the law enforcement people
yes,
have used to make the announcement so that people can stay inside or follow certain protocols and rules and regulations. Then even also in search and rescue missions, we need a floodlight or flashlights. Okay, so remote control searchlights can be also attached to the drone and flown, so that basically this is more or usually like somebody goes for a trekking, or somebody is lost in a forest or some area where we want to search a large area. So practically being on ground, it's very difficult to search the area. So being on the in the air with the searchlight and a camera, you can even do the night search and rescue operations kind of thing. And then of course you can put up a high-end cameras, like high-end optical zoom and all that kind of thing. So 30x zoom, or even 50 times optical zooms, like there are cameras available with them. And then infrared thermal cameras, or multispectral, hyperspectral lidars. I mean, there are endless, like as I said, drones are being used now even for spraying activities, or even there are drones getting developed as a firefighter drones also. Okay, so
Yeah.
earlier you see the fire brigade used to come with the big ladders, and then they will have firemen climbing those ladders with the hose pipe and all, and trying to spray the water. But now that has been getting changed, where you will have a big drones attached hose pipe to it, and then they will be flying at a very height, and they will be having they are called as a teeter drones. Okay, so their purpose is only to stop the fire or put the water on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you will see those are the teeter drones, where they will be spraying the water. And I mean, there are applications even in the in a spraying kind of a cleaning glass walls of the big buildings, where they need to spray a very high pressure water and all that things. Even those kind of drones are being developed, and people are utilizing, or people have started some business or startups which provide these kind of services around it.
Yeah.
We have seen drone attached with the tanks, which are helped in agriculture to spray the pesticides. There are tanks which can even spray the seeding, can also be done. People have put cameras or hyperspectral, multispectral to do crop monitoring kind of activities also,
Okay.
using the drone. So these are applications. I mean, there are. I mean, the moment you start thinking, like a simple application, if people have taken a DJI Phantom drone, and below the this thing camera, they have put a box, where during the wedding, that drone will flow above the groom and the bride, and it will drop the flowers. Okay,
Yes.
spread the flowers over the people also. Even you have to just think what can be done. I mean, that is not advisable to do it, because something you are doing differently. Okay, whether it is, but future may even DJI could come up with that kind of drone. Such kind of things are there.
Understood.
Or probably, like here I've talked about first aid kit, you could also have a supply drone made, where you can have a small case, a box or something, where you can put medicines or any parcel or anything could be delivered by these drones. Okay, so payload definition. The payload is the weight a drone or a remotely piloted vehicle can carry, or unmanned aerial vehicle can carry. I mean, whatever the drone you have, payload is the weight a drone or remotely piloted vehicle can carry. So it is usually counted outside the weight of the drone itself, and includes anything additional to drone, such as extra camera, sensor, or package of delivery.
Packages for the
Okay.
delivery.
See here, this is a very generic definition, but if you, I mean, payload is definitely a additional weight to the drone. But when we talked about the drones with respect to the Indian scenario, okay, whatever the definition is given, whatever that weight is there, including your payload weight, that is the actual drone weight. Okay, maximum takeoff weight. Like for
Okay.
example, you may design, see now, if that's what I was saying, if you see this drone, okay, if you see this phantom drone is designed to carry only this payload. But if I put something below, it is not designed to carry or take that extra weight. Okay,
Hmm.
that may degrade its performance, that may degrade its flight, that may degrade its weighing, I mean, taking off capacity also. Okay, so normally what happens whenever you are designing a drone, like for example, our agricultural drone is is given a capacity of 24.9 kg. But when I'm designing that drone, see the weight with the drone and the tank, full tank, okay, with the fertilizer, 10
Yeah.
liter of fertilizer will weigh you 24.9. That's why that drone is in a small class segment.
Got it.
Now, When I'm designing that drone, I have to design so that it has a maximum thrust. So ideally, if you see, that drone has a power to lift a weight of 50 kg. So it is always designed double the actual weight what it is supposed to carry. The drone
Okay.
itself will have its own weight plus the payload that weight. So that is 24 kg, 24.9. But when I'm designing that drone, I will make sure that I'm designing a drone such a way that the thrust of all the four propellers will be around 50 kg. It can lift a weight up to 50 kg. So when I'm designed for a 50 kg, the utilization of drone will be always divided by 2. So I designed a drone such a way that every propeller or every motor is capable of providing a thrust of 12.5 kg. So four propellers into will be what? 12.5 into 4. Okay, so it will be 50 kg. But
Okay.
what would be the maximum takeoff weight for my drone? It will be the total thrust provided by all four propellers divided by 2. Okay, so that will be 25 kg.
Okay.
Okay, so any drone you design, it is supposed to be designed in a that way. Okay, because when it is taking off from the ground, it needs maximum thrust. Once it is in air, it is floating. Okay, so there you may not be required that much thrust. But when it is closer to the ground, there will be a too much pull. No, it will try to pull the drone down,
Understood.
gravity. So that time you have to overcome that gravity push. So you may need maximum thrust at that point. But once you are in the air, you are up. The gravity, as you are up in the air, the gravity pull will be, compared to the nearer to the ground, it will be less. Okay, because you are already in the air and you are pushing their air down. Okay, so you have a smooth flight once you are well above the ground. Let's say around 6 to 8 feet above the ground. So you will be having a very simple flight, or simple pressure will not. I mean, too much gravity pressure will not be there on the drone. Okay, so it might all seems bit obvious, but here goes the higher power to weight ratio. Your drone has greater a payload it can carry. So that is what I was saying. If I design a drone for 50 kg, then 24 kg weight it can easily pick up. I mean, it will be very smooth.
Okay.
However, drones with higher power to weight ratios are those couldn't carry 10 feet. I mean, see, if you carry higher and then you add, like if it is, and see, normally the rule is 50% of the weight. If you
Yeah.
add more weight around it, it will difficult to lift. Like if I go above 24, 25 kg, I add, okay, if I remove my payload of tank, which is 10 liters, I remove and put the tank of 16 liters.
Hmm.
That means it will increase the weight. Increase
Definitely.
means I will definitely lose the endurance. I may say, okay, I'll put a another battery. Right now I'm using 21,000 mAh. Let me put 30,000 mAh. So
But
30.
what about motor capacity and all?
Correct. So because see, it will adding the weight, it will, though it is 50 kg, I cannot use beyond 25, 50% of the actual thrust. So I
Understood.
cannot go beyond that. So you have to understand that heavier drones will have some impact on power required to carry big payloads. And you will see this payoff in light duration
Light
possible.
duration
So
possible.
as you increase the weight of the drone beyond its acceptable or limited capacity, it will always counteract with the limited duration of the flight. Okay.
Okay.
Now you could always consider upgrading the battery, but again, big battery means heavier payload. This is what I was telling, restricting what else you can include. It's all about the lift. You can have two drones of a same mass,
Hmm.
one with larger rotor and one with smaller rotor. The one with larger rotor will create more air thrust with the same power, despite air flowing being slower than the generated by the small rotor drone. So that means you can see, you can, when you are designing, you have to optimally design your drone. You can't just simply have a endless bigger motors or bigger propellers, or the size of the frame could be bigger, and you
True.
just can't think about adding more battery capacity and also you can't design like that. You have to optimally design your drone such a way that whatever is, first of all, you have to understand what is the purpose. You should calculate what is the weight it could have, and based on that you have to decide what motor I will use. Once you decide on motor, the motor specification will give you what thrust it can generate and what propellers are compatible, what AC is compatible with that. So based on all these parameters, you will design the drone. It's not that कि मैंने कुछ भी I take any motor, I can take any propeller, I will take I'll take a small motor and add a big propeller to it. It cannot happen like that. So there is a compatibility test, or there is a specification provided by the OEMs, like T motor is there, or hobby wing motors are there, or whosoever is making motor, he will always specify what is the compatible propellers can you fit on these motors, and what is the AC it can support. Okay, so all these things will define how big, how much weight it can pull. Like if you want more thrust to be generated, you may think about not having a quadcopter, but then you may think about putting a hexacopter or maybe octocopter also. So depending upon your use case, depending upon whatever the weight you have to pull up and whatever the functions you have, accordingly you will design the drone. Okay, so now if you see, we talked about the gimbal. Gimbal is basically used to stabilize camera payload that has been mounted on the drone and other autonomous vehicles such as UGVs, also underground vehicles also. The gimbal integrates with IMU, so it gets the signal from IMU to stabilize. Okay, that responds to the motion and provides inputs to the controller that activates separate motors to keep payload steady on each axis. There are two axis gimbal or three axis gimbals are there. Okay, so every time there is a shake or there is some movement or vibration, the gimbal will stabilize the payload, or gimbal will try to stabilize the camera, so that you have a very stable, clutter free, or I would not say clutter free, but vibration free kind of images or videos. Okay, so what are the types of electro-optic payloads? It could be RGB camera, it could be a thermal camera, it could be a LiDAR, or it could be multispectral or hyperspectral cameras also. Okay, so what is RGB camera? RGB camera is
Green, blue, right?
yeah, red, green, blue. So as our human eye is sensitive to red, green, and blue band of lights, most standard drones come with this camera that captures the same RGB band. So the image they produce recreates almost same or exactly what our eye see it. It's same like whatever camera we have on the mobile. Similar camera is there
Yeah,
on the drones. So it actually captures what actually we are seeing through our eyes.
yeah,
Okay, so with a drone RGB, with RGB camera on drone, you can see the entire field in one place by processing aerial imagery into a orthomasic map. Quickly make observation, enter the geodata into GPS, and drive right into the problem area without damaging your entire field. So you can, using the cameras and softwares, for the creating orthomasic maps, which can give you a better data, and which can tell you which area of, let's say for example, you are doing a crop monitoring kind of thing. So from normal eye you will able to see a common photograph or common images, but based on the data, multiple photos and all the things, there are softwares which are can interpret and give you a better analysis of your photos, and then it can create a orthomasic map from your multiple photos of that particular area. And you can also have a latitude longitude of that area, and accordingly you can pinpoint which area needs what. Maybe a particular region of a field may be needing more water, or maybe pesticides, or maybe fertilizer needs to be put, and all that things you can interpret from your data perspective. Okay, so what is an RGB camera? RGB camera is a visible camera sensor, is an imager that collects visible light, that is from 400 to 700 nanometers, and converts that into electrical signal, then organize that information to render images and videos. So you can see there are different of images you can create from your raw data. Okay, so we
understood.
can help of for mineralization, seed rate, or soil organic matter, or denitrification zones. You can find out from that data. Once you have the raw data, you can process that data based on the filters and the based on your software, what it can interpret the data from the drone, what we captures. So there are some drones are designed in such a way that it may fly and capture data, and offline analysis you can do. There are drones which has come with a capacity that directly you can access the data as it is seeing on the camera, the software itself will take that feed and will try to tell you in real time the data status.
Okay. So you mean the real-time data processing?
Data processing like AI. If you implement AI, we'll see that in subsequent slides. Okay. So
Okay.
feature of a payload: the software stabilization of the video stream, object tracking. Video process steers the gimbal to maintain the object in interest inside the video frame. Even the object is moving, and aircraft platform is also moving. Like we have seen a lot of time, aerial photographies are been done where the object stays in the center, and as object moves, it tries to keep the drone flies. Even the gimbal is such a way designed in a such a way that it will always keep that particular object or that particular uh, whatever you think that needs to be in the center of the image of your video or your photographs. It will always be there. Okay, so that smartness is there. It's not just by you always, you have to do it. So drone will itself will do all these things for you. So easy it has become, a drone flying and capturing the aerial photographies or videography. That's why you see, most of the latest DJI drones are capable of doing all these things. That's why you see the people who post drone photography or videographies on the Instagram or Facebook. You will
Yeah.
see they are altogether a different class of videos or the photos are there. Okay, just a minute. I got a call. Okay, so that is how you will stabilize using the what you call the smart gimbals, or the even camera has the facility to keep the object in a tracking and accordingly give signals to this gimbal so that it aligns itself without human intervention. Okay,
Yeah.
as the drone is flying, it will give all the inputs back and forth, and then it will try to stabilize as much as possible. Okay, like this is was the example, like for a traffic monitoring also, like you want to monitor, you want to face recognitions, you can have in your RGB sensors, or maybe a car tracking, a particular object you want to track, a type of object also you want to track. That is also possible using RGB sensors or cameras with AI capability or AI functionality.
Got it.
Okay. What are the other applications of RGB? Like in disaster management, drone can use for fire detection, intervention monitoring, and also for post-fire monitoring. Like we have seen this kind of drones used in Africa, where they fly regular the drones, and they were able to detect the fire at early stage. See, until as the fire doesn't become very big and unmanageable. Till that time, lot of people in the forest, they don't know about the fire. But as you are regularly putting the drone for detections or monitoring purposes and all the things, that has actually reduced lot of fires in the forest areas also, or even on the border security. See, the border on the country is very large and big. Every place you will not have a post, and again, your post is not exactly near to the border. Also, from the border, the post might be within a range of like 1 or 2 kilometers, or even 5 kilometers away from the border. Okay, so it's not practically possible that you actually really monitor the border very effectively. So drone has come into the picture, where they will regularly scout the drones over the border and see if there is any illegal movements or
Yeah, on the regular basis, they can do sorties.
correct,
They can
correct.
perform it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can't just keep cameras, everywhere on the border also. So
True,
drone
true.
will actually, will help to overcome this kind, or any difficult scenario, difficult locations also. Like not see here in the picture, this border looks very simple, or
I
easy,
understand. I understand.
but there are borders which are very difficult to manage or go to that place itself. Like for example, in Srinagar or Jammu Kashmir or even Ladakh region, where it difficult terrains or climatic condition, where, all that things becomes very difficult. In that scenario, drones are very useful for such kind of applications. Okay, like I talked about the aerial surveillance also. Like you can, windmills can be done. It can detect the fault on the windmill wings or the propellers. Okay, or the blades, or maybe on the ship also, or maybe on the what do you say, telecom towers or power line towers, or even in the sea, it can be monitored. So these are use of unmanned and increasingly completely automated drone inspection has already caused huge waves in asset management sector. Like a couple of days back, I've read that now to do the monitoring or inspection of an aircraft after it has landed, though the humans engineers are doing it, even there is a possibility that they will be using drone. So they will might be having a complete automated process where drone will just fly and completely monitor the entire entire aircraft by the drone, and give you
Got
the
it.
status. Okay, maybe a damage with respect to the structure, or anything. A lot of times there are rivets. If you see closely on the aircraft also, aircraft is not made of a single structures. Okay, so a lot of time the plates of the aluminum are stick
Yeah.
to each other by using the rivets. So over the period of usage, wear and tear, even these rivets sometimes get break, or get damaged or become loose and all that things. So sometimes you are not able to see them properly or something, and they are very difficult locations or positions and all that. So in that scenario, the drone actually comes very handy, and it can, whatever the possibility of human negligence could happen, the drone can effectively help you to do the inspections of those particular
Mm-hmm.
things over there. Okay, so these are some of the applications of RGB sensors, like solar farms, wind farms, railway lines, bridge inspections, power lines, mobile phone towers, oil and gas pipelines, water pipelines, buildings and constructions. In real estate, also a lot of application has come up.
Real estate, I guess that every builder right now is doing it for the sake of their presentation and
Promotion,
advertising.
promotion, yeah, promotion, as well as to showcase the progress. Okay, by see, one way is like I as a purchaser of my flat, I will always see and go and see oh kitna building there. So
Understood.
a
Understood.
lot of time, positive things comes from this side also. Like builder will create a video and all the thing. He will share it to his customers, and then customer will think okay, and he will able to compare. देखो ये एक महीने पहले का सीन था, ये 2 महीने. I mean, currently this is what it is. So you will see the progress. The
Got it.
whereas if it is not there, you can't tell. You just can say, "यार 2 महीने पहले मेरा 2 फ्लोर हुआ था. Now it is at fourth floor," but that is all
Understood.
verbal. Here you have something evidence to showcase to the people. So in the building construction line, they have a heavy rooms set up where they will show all these kind of videos or footages to the future customers or people prospective customers, and that's how they convert the bookings also and all the things. So it is very very useful. Okay, so application of RGB sensors can be used in mapping also for 2D mapping with the fixed camera. We can do a 3D mapping with the gimbal camera. So, you can create 2D images, 3D images, or pictures for all the mapping kind of activities also. Okay, again, application of RGB sensor, like I said, mining, erosion detection, boundary management, project progress monitoring. Like you can show in a real estate, like how your building is coming up. With every month you take the footage, every month you take the images and all that things from a different angles, which can make a project progress reports kind of thing to even to the customers or even to the people who are invested money in the project and all that things. Okay, so that was the applications of RGB camera or
RGB
the
cameras.
sensors. Now let's see the thermal camera. So thermal camera is something which actually detects the what is not visible to human eye. Okay, so thermographic camera or infrared camera detects infrared light or heat invisible to human eye. A thermal imager, also known as thermal camera, is essential a heat sensor that is capable of detecting any tiny differences in the temperature. This device collects the infrared radiation from the object in the scene and creates an electronic image based on information about the temperature differences. You can see different location having different colors. So based on the color, you can differentiate that this is this may be the hot, this may be the cold
Yeah.
kind of things and all, right? So these are altogether thermal cameras are a different cameras and they have a different type of sensors which can sense the heat actually. Okay, and give you a
I have
thermal.
worked extensively on thermal cameras itself,
Oh great.
but those are the CCTV cameras. So I have
Right. CCTV cameras are also filled with,
even
these
RGB.
are very high end. These thermal
As far
cameras are very high.
as cameras are concerned, I have worked a lot on it.
Right. So application of thermal payload, originally developed for surveillance and military operation, thermal cameras are now widely used in even in building inspection. Like you can detect moisture. Like just looking at the wall you can see that okay it may be wet or it may be, but you can't figure figure it out from where the leakages are there. I mean, I've seen this one of the application of the thermal camera, right? Like people are having a handheld thermal cameras and they're
Yeah.
scanning the wall, and they can actually pinpoint from where or what is the source of the leakage also in the roof or in the wall itself. Okay, or insulation, roofing, etc., and all the things. Then again, firefighting, autonomous vehicle and automatic braking, skin temperature monitoring. This we have seen during the pandemic or COVID times. Industrial inspections, solar panel inspection, power line inspections. We have seen when we were doing the power line tower project. We have used thermal cameras to check the status of the power line towers as well as the power line wires also, how they are the temperature differences they are giving and all the things. Pipeline inspections, a lot of time these gas pipelines or the especially the water pipelines, the water is flowing from the inside, so they are cool from the inside but they are rusted. They over the period time they get rusted in
Got
from
it.
the inside or corrosive they happen. But from the outside when you see the pipe, it looks very neat and clean and good. But all of one sudden one day you will see a leakage coming out, the pipeline burst. So you do not know what is the status from inside. So when you have a thermal camera, you can actually scan the pipe completely, and you can proactively understand which area of a pipe is actually becoming corrosive or rusted from inside using the thermal cameras. Okay, then we talk about wildlife monitoring also. A lot of time the movements of the wildlife can be also used detected through the thermal cameras also. So this we have seen extensively used in Tanzania, Kenya, South African, big grasslands where they have to track the wildlife movements. Okay, so application of thermal payload again, you can, based on the temperature differences, it will give you the image in a thermal this thing.
Got it.
Okay, like if you see here also firefighting, you can see this building is
It's
under
just
the
to
fire,
detect a fire, right?
and all the things. Okay, then autonomous vehicle and automatic braking, so it can, it detect which is what and all the things, and then it can tell you if which one is like, normally this you see these applications on the toll or somewhere you are monitoring something, you can put a
Yeah.
camera, and possibility of human detecting a particular type of a car or a number and all that things is error, or chances are there, but being deploying a camera with the thermal capability and detecting certain aspects what you require to track will
Hmm.
help you to get that right information. And it can, like here see, it might be blue might be okay, but red might be something vulnerable or something which you want to check, so you can check out and accordingly take the actions. Skin temperature, I told you the example of during the
Yeah.
pandemic, a lot of time people have deployed a thermal camera, so that especially on the airports also this was there earlier, where they were able to detect the temperature of a person without actually touching him physically or using any other
Hmm.
devices. Industrial applications, we have seen like a lot of industries, a lot of manufacturing plants and all the things where even thermal payloads are being utilized. Okay, again I think this is duplicate. Okay, this is the area, or this is the industry where we have seen drone with the thermal camera is been extensively used, especially in the solar panel inspections. So you can
Hmm.
see how the solar panels are, are giving you the optimal performance, and based on the report what has been generated by using thermal
Potential damages, not non-working cells.
non-working cells and all the things
Right.
can give you the inputs, and so accordingly you can take a corrective measures for your solar panels. Again, I told you about the power lender. So you can see the below structure is not so, or above structure, or even the wires, especially the wires where there is a joints. Those are the places where a lot of heating happens because
Hmm.
of the connectors and all that things. Okay, or the resistance attached to it, or insulators attached. So those are the locations which is critical to be monitored under, which is not visible to RGB cameras, can be monitored using the thermal cameras.
Yeah.
Okay, so after thermal we have something called lidar. So lidar is nothing but light detection and ranging. Okay, sensors use light energy emitted from a laser to scan the ground and measure the variable distance. So basically it sends the pulse of a laser pointing towards down, and every frequency or intervals it will get back the data. Okay, as it is, lidar is continuously monitoring and all things, it will create or data from it or map from it. So what is the LiDAR technology in drone? LiDAR drones are any drone made to carry a LiDAR sensor. They are used to collect data that can use to make detailed
Detailed 3D
3D
models.
models for variety of applications and industries. So depending upon whatever you are trying to create. Okay, like for example, you are doing a survey, or you're doing planning something to create on the ground or something, or maybe a monitoring of the forest or the terrain and all that things, or maybe even crops. Okay, all that can be monitored, and you can create a maps, 3D models you can create using the lidars. Okay, so application of LiDAR is, if it stands for light detection ranging, is a remote sensing technology that uses laser beam to get information about surrounding
Surrounding
objects.
objects.
Its inception, scientists have used LiDAR to map the Earth's surface and acquire meteorological data, because it is able to penetrate through the vegetation. A lot of time you are not able to get the data through the thermal or through the RGB.
RGB.
So there, actually, the LiDAR sensors comes to your help, because it's a remote sensing technology what it is using. So even, let's say, forest is covered completely by the trees, and the green cover is there, that canopy what we call as a green canopy, or the tree canopy what we call. So whatever is the ground is not visible to your RGB cameras, or not able to detect any difference in the temperature with the thermal. Here, the LiDAR, since it's using a laser pulse, it will penetrate till the ground, and it will give you the data back. So that is how you will able to create the images which are not visible to your thermal or RGB cameras.
Okay.
Okay, so application of the drones, one is in agriculture. We have seen drones can help farmers to optimize the use of inputs like seed, fertilizer, water, to react more quickly to the threats, that is weed, pest or fungi, to save time counting, validate treatment, action can be taken to improve the variable rate prescription in real time and estimate yield from the field. So how you effectively utilize your agricultural drone for different purposes, like it could be just by putting a water or fertilizers, or even in seeding, you can improve your variable rate prescriptions of. And so basically, if you see in traditional way, when when you are actually putting a fertilizer or pesticide, you are approximately, say, let's say you are utilizing 200 liters of water, okay,
Hmm.
and maybe 5-10 liters of fertilizers. But if you are deploying a drone to do it, we have seen that people are only required somewhere around, for an acre, I'm talking about an acre, okay, hardly 20 liters of water, and just 2 liters of pesticides. So see
Okay.
how much, from 5 liter of pesticide you are reducing it to 2 liters. 200 liters of water is reduced to almost 10% of it, so only 20 liter of water is required. Okay, so much saving is there. Plus, to spray the pesticide in a field of like 1 acre, in a normal traditional way where the person comes and does all these things, it takes something around 3 days, sometimes 5 days, and all that things. Okay, and complexity is there. Sometimes the labor will come on a day one, he will come on day two, and then on day three he will become absconding, or maybe he will fall sick, because whatever the pesticides you are spraying, that will go into his body also, through breathing, or through the mouth and all the things. So a lot of time they have to take precautions, but everything you can cover, but eyes again you need to you open. So sometimes it become very irritating, the pesticide also sometimes it's very irritating for the eyes also. So that way there is a challenge in the labor part also. So 5 days labor, even you think about spending 500 rupees per day for the labor, 5 days ka cost will be 2500, whereas here you are able to spray 1 acre in 10 minutes with by just paying 500 rupees. So see how
Okay.
much saving you are doing by utilizing the drone in agriculture. Just an example I'm talking about. Similarly, power line tower. Like when we are doing a power line tower monitoring, I told you that we were actually earlier the traditional way was that people used to take a jeep or a car to a particular location. People will carry the DSLR cameras and binoculars, and so within that time frame, in a day they could hardly cover maybe 3 or 4 or max 5 towers. But using the drones, initially we also started with a small number, but eventually we were able to scale up, and in a day we were able to do 12 to 15 towers. Okay, because in a 1 kilometer range you will have approximately 3 towers. Okay, so
Okay.
think about 15 kilometers is almost a 5 kilometer of area you are actually monitoring. Okay, so again it depends where. If it is in a proper simpler land and easy accessible, you can do more. But if it is like a terrain and a difficult locations and all, then maybe you are able to do less. But compared to the traditional way, the number of towers which were able to cover using the drone was higher, and the amount of data what was captured again from the drone was very useful, and was put up in such a way that proactively corrective actions were able to be taken, so that they have very less outages.
Got it.
Okay, so again we have seen application of drones for light shows and all this, and this is one of the segment which has taken up much bigger way in last couple of years. We have seen this in Dubai, we have seen this in Chennai, not Chennai, China, Even in India, also a lot of places like during Ram temple inauguration, also on that night, also they had put up the drone show,
Yeah.
or even lot of even private sectors, people are utilizing drone shows using in weddings or any big events, or any big event like what we call festival or sports.
Concerts or sports event or something like that.
Yeah, everywhere these are now getting more and more. Like you just need probably you can start this kind of service like maybe with initially with 100 drones or 500 drones, and then as you get more and more order, you can scale up. So the more, see, basically one drone is one pixel kind of thing. So
Hmm.
by there is a technology called Swan technology. Okay,
Yeah.
by using the Swan technology, you can program each and every drone, and you can create this animation, and drone will automatically take off and fly, and start creating these images, which
Yeah.
will visible for a more number of people in audience, and can be seen from very far off locations also. So there is
Hmm.
a huge potential for such kind of application of drones using for light shows, for the light shows. Okay, so with that we complete the payload installation and utilization. So any questions on the payload part?
No, no, it was like refreshment for me.
Correct,
Just the CCTV cameras installed on the drones. So
correct. So CCTV camera is a fixed camera, or it is at a particular
yeah,
location. Here your camera is actually moving. So one of the applications what I have seen, the traffic police earlier has the cameras fitted on the what we called junctions, okay,
yeah,
or the signals. These
check.
are fixed cameras, but they have now thinking about deploying a camera near their offices or anything, from where the drone can fly along with the camera, and they give them a real footage in case if they are not physically able to go to that place or something like that, or they wanted to monitor a particular location from a different angle perspective, or a very unknowingly they don't want to let people know that camera is there, or even speeding of the
Overspeeding, right?
overspeeding of the cars or the vehicles can be also monitored using the drones and all that. Okay, so Indian government has already given a go ahead to the road department, that they can create a vertiport every 25 kilometers near the highway. Okay, so that the drone can come and land at that particular location in case of any kind of emergency, something like that.
Okay.
Okay, maybe 25 or 50 kilometers based on the range. So that is still not finalized yet, but this is what the draft has come up. And so there will be a place where you can change the batteries, or you want to charge the batteries of your drone. All that things can be made possible, and so that how that ecosystem needs to be set up, what is required for that, how to have a standardization to be done, all that is still in discussion, or still in finalization state. So once things are being placed and need is required, things will fall in place, and then you will have this all infrastructure available. Like how we started the EV momentum, right? Initially, how
Mm-hmm.
many EV cars were, but once the government start the push and all the things by giving subsidy, and then making some things mandatory and all the things. So now you see even the new societies or the new buildings where are being built, a lot of buildings already have in the parking charging point for your EV cars or EV vehicles, or even in the malls, you will see you have a place where you can get your cars or your vehicles charged and all the things. Okay. Similarly, also on the road, earlier we had only petrol pumps and all the things, but now petrol pumps also had come up with EV charging points also, so that the ecosystem similarly for the drone also needs to be finalized, or will take time
Yeah.
as things people, government.
So in near future, we'll have like